and gentlemen, not all, but just some of our Netas think that they're above the law. They feel that a badge of any political party on their chest creates an aura around them that could make them entitled to immunity from political attacks, to agencies cracking down, to judicial scrutiny as well. But that bubble has been busted today by none other than the highest judicial authority of the country, the Supreme Court. The investigative agency's action on opposition leaders forced 14 political parties to unite at least on this one issue, even if they didn't quite agree with each other on political ideology or the name of one leader as an opponent to Prime Minister Modi. It was this petition against ED and CBI that they all got together and moved the Supreme Court. But today their petition alleging misuse of central agencies like the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI failed to impress the apex court. Let's deep dive into what the coalition, in this case, this group of 14 political parties wanted versus what the Supreme Court's critical observations were. While the petitioners wanted a triple test before any arrest except those involving serious bodily violence, the Supreme Court said that the financial scams run into crores, so the petitioners cannot say they should not be arrested. Now, the triple test involves if you are a flight risk to run away from the country, or if you are somebody who can tamper with evidence, or if you are somebody who can put pressure and change witnesses. If these three things are not a problem, then Netas should not be arrested. But the Supreme Court said, you can't have that. Only if you hurt somebody bodily or murder somebody, you should be arrested. For all these corruption scams, you can't arrest us. That is what Netas wanted. The Supreme Court politely and firmly declined that. The petitioners also said that if the conditions are not met, then fixed hours of interrogation or house arrest should be considered. So, all those accused of financial dealings or bunglings should be given appointments. They should go and they should be questioned in a nice atmosphere, and maybe in some cases, if you really want to arrest them, then not a jail cell but actually a house arrest should be considered. But the Supreme Court made it clear that Netas cannot claim higher immunity than common citizens because they are just mere Indian citizens as well. There cannot be a special law for them. For the bail as a rule and jail as an exception in non-violent cases argument, the top court said that the guidelines cannot apply only to Netas. In the argument to relax bail provisions in PMLA cases, Prevention of Money Laundering Act cases, all the cases that the ED puts before these Netas, the Supreme Court said that the court cannot play the role of the legislature. This prompted the Supreme Court to call this petition nothing but a save politicians plea. Not the line of the government, not the line of the media, but the Supreme Court. Despite the perceived loss of face, the opposition is still sticking to its persecution argument and maintaining a very stoic stand. Listen in to senior Congress leader and the lawyer of the 14 political parties in court, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singh.
They ultimately did not entertain it, but did not express a single opinion on the merits. 95% of all cases involve opposition leaders as far as the political sphere is concerned. That, according to us, skews democracy, makes democracy one-sided.
With the Supreme Court pointing out the flaws, the petition was allowed to be withdrawn and subsequently dismissed. A red-faced opposition had to withdraw their own petition with which they wanted to possibly stymie the government's action and the agency's actions. The BJP called it the opposition being shown the mirror. Listen in to the war of words between the BJP and the Congress.
करोड़ों रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार करने के बाद जब जांच शुरू होती है तो कभी सड़कों पर उतरते हैं, कभी सदन रोकने का काम करते हैं। सभी भ्रष्टाचारी एक मंच पर आने का प्रयास करते हैं, लेकिन ये जनता में भी इनका बेनकाब हुआ है और कोर्ट में भी असलियत जानने का मौका मिला है।
What is happening with the agencies is for all to see. If 95% of all ED cases are against India's opposition and there's a fourfold increase in that, somebody has to turn around and ask these relevant questions. But the reality today is it's no longer misuse of agencies. You're trying to disqualify parliamentarians who are questioning you. You have an issue with history that actually shows you in poor light.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what's already important to note is that 9 states have blocked the entry of CBI in their territories, which means the CBI has to take the state's permission before they can enter these states of Telangana, Punjab, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Kerala, Meghalaya and Mizoram. Just a matter of coincidence that all of these states are ruled by the opposition party. The CBI doesn't have the general consent and cannot go to these states. So the legitimate question now that we're asking on the Newshour tonight, has the opposition's vendetta claim fallen flat? That's the question and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight on the show, GBL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkarn Bhandari, Advocate Mohandas Pai, Chairman of Aryan Capitals, Ravula Sridhar Reddy, Leader of the BRS, Nilanjan Das, Political Analyst. But my first question goes to Mr. Lokesh Jindal, Leader of the Congress Party. And Mr. Lokesh Jindal, बड़े बेआबरू होके तेरे कूचे से हम निकले. That's virtually what the Supreme Court told you today. Because your petition was totally loaded towards special privileges that you thought that you needed, or at least all the opposition parties that went to court needed a special law and dispensation to treat them with kid gloves as against what common people are allowed. Do you think really you are a cut above the normal citizen of this country who votes you to power? And did the Supreme Court set aside that entitlement that was expected?
Well, in reply to the share that you said, I would say, Abhi parda mat girao, thehro, dasta aage aur bhi hai. Now, this petition that was submitted to the Supreme Court was with reference to the trend that is being witnessed currently. The manner in which the Supreme Court in 1994 had given judgment in the S.R. Bommai case, whereby it laid down guidelines to check the misuse of Article 356 that was happening in the country and that was subverting democracy. Similarly, on that front, all the 14 political parties, they were aiming at getting certain procedural guidelines issued by the Supreme Court so that the misuse of central investigating agencies, it could be checked. We are not against the use of central investigating agency, but we are against the abuse of central investigating agency. Now, the entire nation knows, in fact, the all public administration, it is clear that whether it is CBI, which functions under Ministry of Home Affairs, so either it gets the investigative issue either from the ministry or from the Central Vigilance Commission, and whatever task it is being carried out, it is subjected to significant political interference. So this administrative agency, which was formulated during the Congress regime so as to check corruption, so as to give effect to Prevention of Corruption Act, or with ED with respect to Prevention of Money Laundering Act, is actually being used to prevent Prevention of Opposition Act. So that is something which is an abstract act which this particular government has invented. And this agency is not performing its administrative task and is more hell-bent upon performing political tasks. And it is indeed subverting democracy. So in this particular spirit, we had approached the Supreme Court.
Lokesh Jindal, of course you are allowed to do this in the political arena. You can sit in any ground anywhere in the state of Delhi or anywhere else in the country and protest against this. And that's exactly what the Supreme Court said. These are political issues. Please don't come to the courts to solve these political issues. If you can mention a specific evidence then come with that, or else fight your political battles. And Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, today the victim card that has been used for just so long became absolutely useless because the Supreme Court said is victim card ka to koi matlab hi nahi hai. Now what's going to bind these various political parties together, because it was just this petition that bound them together?
Yes, Navika, I think what Honorable Prime Minister referred to recently as the coalition of the corrupt, I think it is this coalition which has approached the Honorable Supreme Court, seeking special privileges, seeking immunity from any investigation, seeking some kind of a higher pedestal for politicians accused of rampant corruption, money laundering. I think it is utter shamelessness, I would say. I think going to the court and seeking immunity against corruption, not in no individual case have they gone to say that without any evidence, without any facts, cases have been foisted on them. They have been approaching the court in the case of Sisodia, Chandra Jain. They have gone with a lot of claims, but the courts have not been convinced of their claims. I think in many of these cases, the action of corruption, the incidents of corruption is so obvious. These are open and shut cases, and it required some amount of really, I would say, daring to go to the Supreme Court to seek immunity. On the contrary, I think these people of India expect politicians and those who are in positions of power to subject themselves to higher levels of scrutiny, not lower levels of scrutiny. Why do we, in the election affidavits, we are required to disclose a lot of information, financial information, because people expect us to be a lot more transparent than people who are in business or people who are in normal life. Politicians must maintain higher degree of integrity. And here today they went to the court seeking a lower quotient of morality and seeking some kind of a protection for moral turpitude. I think this is why I call this shamelessness.
Well, so let me ask Mr.
Sir, why did you protect Suvendu Adhikari? Why not the similar treatment to Suvendu Adhikari? Why not similar treatment to Mukul?
Mr. Lokesh Jindal, now that particular case, file a new petition, same argument every time. Take that matter to court, my friend. Take that matter to court. We all, people of India, urge you to take that matter to court, that there is favoritism, and the Supreme Court has said, if there is a specific case, please come to us.
Yes, it should be done.
Yeah, so please do it. Instead of running and asking for special dispensations, you should have gone with that case to the court, which you didn't, obviously. And therefore, Mr. Reddy, my question to you is, Shakespeare once said, Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. If I just apply it to politicians and the class of politicians, they should all be above suspicion. Why would political parties go and ask for reprieve and special treatment, if there are cases related to them, and then when the Supreme Court throws it out, do you please realize that somewhere or the other you've lost your credibility in front of the people of India? Mr. Nilanjan Das, why don't you take that question? I think we've lost the connection with Mr. Reddy.
No, first I want to ask that the BJP spokesperson here, he was talking about, integrity of politicians. Let me remind him of, how many times BJP leaders have, it is proven that they have lied on affidavit. It is proven. They cannot even produce their own degrees. So for him to say this is quite laughable, I think. Yes, it's true that, in this case, the court has... No, please let me finish, sir. I did not interject you. In this case, the court has made certain observations. I think the opposition should go to the court with, specific cases like the one mentioned by my previous speaker, Mr. Lokesh. He said about Suvendu Adhikari. He's charge-sheeted, but still the CBI doesn't have the spine. The CBI is now, it is like a puppet of the BJP. Everyone knows this. The Supreme Court itself. I don't know why this man is laughing.
This man happens to be Mr. Mohandas Pai.
Whoever, I don't know why he's laughing. No, let me finish. Let me finish. I will take 10 more seconds. This very Supreme Court had said that this very Supreme Court had called the CBI the caged parrot, and it has now turned into a falcon maybe. So I have nothing to say.
All right. Mohandas Pai is extremely amused, and I want to get him into this.
I am amused. Why he's laughing?
He'll just explain to you. Just hold your thoughts, and Mohandas Pai is coming into the debate.
It is so laughable. These people use the same law against their opponents when they are in power, and when they're in the receiving end, they all cry and drop their pants and go to the Supreme Court and cry and say, save democracy. That means save us from corruption charges. Now, they must understand, they are the ones who passed the law. They are the ones who made it very stringent. Now, look at the arrogance in the
BJP is abusing the law. The BJP is abusing the agencies.
Please keep quiet. Please keep quiet. And now they're going to the Supreme Court and saying, hey, save us from this law because the law is being used against us, is being misused against us. If they're so very concerned about the misuse of the law, let them introduce a bill in Parliament on all the points they raised in Supreme Court to say, let us amend the law so that all citizens have the same safeguards we are asking for ourselves. They did not do that. They want to save their skin. They want the citizens to rot in jail. They go on adding more and more penalty on citizens. They know that the justice system is broken, investigation system is broken, they don't allow the law to function properly, and they do not amend the law. They go on adding more and more punishment. Every government for the last 40 years had more and more punishment, making it scary for an ordinary citizen to live a clean life. And now when they are stuck, because for the first time possibly, so many corrupt politicians are being charged under the law, now they run with their pants down. Now this is shameful. I would urge them, please go to Parliament.
How many cases have been drawn to the logical conclusion?
Dispensation. All citizens should have the same kind of things that we went to Supreme Court for.
And Mr. Nilanjan Das, support the Trinamool Congress and the Trinamool Congress leader Partha Chatterjee and those bundles of 2,000 rupee notes. Suspended leader, but he was a minister when he was arrested and when that money was found. Today,
Congress is the only party that has taken action.
My friend, he was a minister. He was sitting on a chair that made him a minister, making it possible for corruption to be taking place in the state.
The BJP is a washing machine. It takes in leaders like
I agree with you. I agree with you, Nilanjan Das, but I completely agree with you when you raise the point of BJP being a washing machine. Having said that, when I'm discussing TMC, I'm discussing TMC. Your argument cannot be that don't talk about my corruption, talk about theirs. I'm talking about the money found in Partha Chatterjee's aide house.
Take action, hang him. Hang Mr. Partha Chatterjee.
And you just disown him and say that the TMC is a very pious party. You just disown him and say the TMC is a very pious party. Bahut achhe. Very nice. Very nice. Mohandas Pai. They say hang Partha Chatterjee. Hang Partha Chatterjee because the money was found. They have no way to
it was not found
defend him.
It was found at Miss.
Then why are you hanging him? Why don't you support him if it was found somewhere else?
He has been expelled. He has been suspended.
I want to ask you, Mohandas Pai, and I'll come to you, GVL Narasimha Rao. Just because he's been suspended after money was found, Mohandas Pai, TMC now is back to being a pious party. Nothing to do with the man. So what if he was a minister?
Nothing to do with the party.
Nilanjan Das, hold your horses. Hold your horses. My friend, I know you're extremely excited. It's your debut day on my show. Please allow Mohandas Pai to respond. Yes.
Navika, in Bengal, there's an open secret about this corruption that is going on for a long time. I'm sure everybody in that party knew about it. So many people were feeding up and having a great feast. Now that the person has get stuck, hang him. kick him out, we suspend him. I mean, you can't disclaim responsibility, right? It's so much of money and it's for a government position. Many people are involved. You take responsibility and say, we will investigate, you clean the party. Don't point fingers to others.
All right, let me get in GVL Narasimha Rao. GVL Narasimha Rao, one comment on how Partha Chatterjee should be hung, and the Trinamool Congress is above all suspicion. But the second question on Shubhendu Adhikari, has he been through your washing machine and is he absolutely rin ki safedi?
Navika, but if by that yardstick, does he? So why was Partha Chatterjee? Why did he not join the BJP? If every corrupt member goes to the BJP, gets a clean sheet, then what is Partha Chatterjee doing?
Why is Shubhendu not been arrested?
Or 4 months since his investigation happened.
It is
BJP will not even admit such people. Let me make it clear. BJP will not even admit
Nilanjan Das, please don't speak over everybody. You know, this is not a channel where people speak over each other. You want to rebut him, I'll give you an opportunity after that. Yeah. GVL.
Yes. So, Navika, I think this whole political hue and cry about political parties individuals being targeted, it's completely a bogus argument. Only out of over 5,000 prosecutions or investigations cases that are booked, only 175 belong to political parties or leaders, elected MLAs, MPs or ex-MPs, MLAs, it's only 175. And in 24 cases, they were able to, 24 out of 25 cases, ED was able to secure convictions and 45 people were convicted, which clearly shows that when the cases reach their final stage, certainly most people who are caught corrupt, who are caught indulging in money laundering, who are accused of offences under PMLA Act, are actually punished by the courts of law.
Okay.
So therefore, for anyone...
But Shubhendu Adhikari, the Shubhendu Adhikari question.
This is purely a bogus claim. They know...
Shubhendu Adhikari question.
Mr. Mitch, our leader, have they approached any court? Why don't they? Why are the people only restricting their comments to the television debates? Have they approached the ED? Have they approached the courts? No, you only indulge.
That Shubhendu Adhikari is charge sheeted. Other leaders who get charge sheeted get arrested. Why not Shubhendu Adhikari? That's the question to you. Respond.
He has no answer.
No, I think they say that, the same lie,
What is the lie? What is the lie? Answer the question.
As if he was the only member to lose membership. 17 members, 17 MPs, MLAs lost. Why is he shouting so much? I don't understand. Have you been raided by ED? Why are you shouting so much? No, why? 17 members have lost membership, MPs and MLAs, but for Rahul Gandhi they will make such a hue and cry. Same is the case here.
Well, Nilanjan Das, you'll have to calm down. Mr. Sridhar Reddy is showing something on his iPad. 1 minute. Mr. Sridhar Reddy. Yes, Mr.
GVL Narasimha Rao is on the show, and I just wanted to read out a tweet from him. Sometime back, I have complained to Ethics Committee to seek disqualification of 2 TDP MPs, YS Chowdhury and CM Ramesh, who have earned the dubious title of Andhra Malyas with massive financial scandals. At YS Chowdhury defrauded banks for rupees 5,700 crores. CM Ramesh MP evaded hundreds of crores of tax in taxes. After some time, ANI tweeted, ED tweeted. After some time, फिर निर्मा सर्फ आ गया बीच में. अभी देखिए, this is the situation where those 2 Andhra Malyas referred by Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao asked for disqualification with Mr. Amit Shah in BJP. From then, they also could meet Narendra Modi ji हंसता खिलता वहां पर प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफिस में. उसके बाद after that, no ED, no CBI, no IT. After that, never Mr. GVL even spoke about CM Ramesh and YS Chowdhury. In fact, he shared many a dayas with them in Andhra Pradesh,
Okay.
criticizing other parties. Now you say that you are treating everybody equal. You are going to court.
But do you have anything, Mr. Reddy? Mr. Reddy, I know you brought this up earlier, and there is no ban on bringing up these examples. I'll get GVL Narasimha Rao to answer that. But would you want to comment on the court's order today on the petition of the 14 parties?
Navika ji, BRS respects the judiciary, the law of the land, with due respect to the court's decision today. I would like to state that one case which is not admitted doesn't mean that entire BJP government acts are right and all opposition is wrong.
Okay.
If BJP thinks that they are victorious today, it is not the case.
Okay, it's not one case. It's not one case, by the way, because Ms. K. Kavita's case has gone to 2 or 3 courts and twice, I think, to Supreme Court, and you know, she hasn't got reprieve. So that's 2 cases.
We have a right to go to the judiciary, to the courts. We will explore all the options before us to prove BJP government and their act.
Ishkarn Bhandari. Ishkarn Bhandari. So finally, democracy is not in danger. The institution of the Supreme Court at least is being respected. And nobody today is saying that courts in this country are being run by the government of the land. So at least that's one point that is proven. The second point, that they are saying it's only one petition. How do you respond to that?
Navika ji, I was listening patiently to everybody. I hope I will not be interrupted. Today's petition can be summed up in ek to chori, upar se seena jori. So effectively, if you have allegations of hawala, money laundering, you are a government or a public servant who is involved in corruption, after doing all that, you want that there should be A, pre-arrest guidelines so that you are not arrested, and B, if you are arrested, there should be lenient bails given to you. When bail is a case by case, not only a case by case, an accused by accused, because every accused has a different role. So it's an accused by accused case in which court gives the bail or does not give the bail. For example, in the CBI case recently, certain people have gotten bail who were involved in this liquor scam, but Mr. Manish Sisodia did not get bail from the CBI court because that is individual and case specific. Now let us deal with what has happened in this case. They say that 124 cases have been investigated by CBI against politicians and 121 by ED. A good test would be how many of these, let us assume CBI and ED were completely acting at the behest of the government, how many of these have been quashed? Because quashing of a case shows that it was a completely erroneous FIR or a charge sheet. No data has come onto this, and in public discourse, there is hardly a case I remember of a politician getting quashed. If they had out of 120, even 20 cases, maybe they would have had a chance in the Supreme Court to say that all these FIRs are false. Now let us come to the other aspect of this entire case, which is very interesting. That they say that there is a very low conviction rate, that the court itself ordered, not only under CBI ED, under policies of various states. The cases in India take a very long time. That's an unfortunate reality of investigative agencies across states, and also a lacuna in the judiciary, which the judiciary has to overcome. Effectively, what has happened today is, please use a debit card, please use a credit card, but stop using a victim card, stop trying to get VIP privileges. These people framed these laws. In fact, most of these laws were strengthened by what is today the opposition when they were in power. So deal with it, win elections, and the last advice of the court that political battles you have to win politically, you will not win it by in getting the court to give you special VIP privileges.
Well, very well said, political cases, and that's what the Supreme Court said. And Lokesh Jindal, my question to you is that when you march with your entire Congress working committee, all chief ministers to the Surat court, what is the point you are proving? You are talking about politics. Now, for political problems that you have, you can't be making a spectacle of the courts of this country, and that is also something that can be drawn out of the Supreme Court's order today, allowing you to withdraw your ill-founded petition, number one. And number two, the question tonight is that the courts can only act on evidence. You have evidence that there is misuse of agencies, go to court, get your reprieve. Why do you make all of this rona dhona about democracy being in danger?
Navika, I'll answer the first question. Yes, absolutely right. But the court says that it belongs to the domain of politics. Yes, it does belong to the domain of politics. And this is over here that Rahul Gandhi's slogan, Daro Mat, is very apt. That's a slogan that actually shows the way for all the opposition parties to come, unite together, save the democracy, because opposition is very important in a democracy. You cannot have a democracy without opposition. Secondly, when you're talking about
I need a
Cases,
clarification.
so
I need a clarification. Daro mat किससे? Supreme Court से मत डरो, सूरत कोर्ट से मत डरो, किससे मत डरो? ये समझा दो मुझे.
Yes.
समझ में नहीं आया.
The government's tendency to abuse, misuse central agencies is aiming at instilling fear amongst those who oppose the.
But my friend, that premise has not worked in the court. So you have to change your strategy, my friend. ये वाला premise तो चला
Why
नहीं.
is he shouting? Is there ED after him? Now the point is, the BJP member himself knows that what is the reaction of any person when ED and CBI
नहीं, हमें तो नहीं डर
let
लगता
loose on
भैया.
that individual.
भैया हमें नहीं
Navika, you
ED
are
से
the
डर
media.
लगता.
Media
I have
से
nothing to
पंगा
hide.
लेने
I'm
का
not
किसी
scared.
में
आपको
जोर
ED के
नहीं
नाम से
होता.
डर क्यों लगता है? GVL Narasimha Rao, why is he scared of the word ED? I don't think Mohandas Pai is scared. I don't think Ishkarn Bhandari is scared. I'm not
Because they are
scared.
supporting
Why are you so
BJP?
worried about ED word being used?
Navika.
Yes, sir.
No,
Navika,
I think they are
I want
only
to make
exhibiting
yes,
by
we are
going to
not
the
scared
court
of ED,
at one
CBI,
level,
but let me say,
by going to the court.
GVL, Mohandas Pai making an intervention, I'm coming to you.
Navika, you know, we can say we are not scared of all these agencies, but let me say very clearly, in most citizen's mind, there is a lurking fear of misuse of the law by the government of the day. Whether the UPA government or the NDA government or the TMC government and anywhere, they can intimidate you, they can pick you up, put you in a lock jail, in the lockup, the police will go after you. All these governments and all these political leaders are capable of misuse. So we need to have a law which will safeguard all citizens from misuse. And the statements made by the opposition party in Supreme Court should be introduced in the legislature by all these people and passed so that all citizens get the same benefit. I would appreciate if they do that instead of marching and saying, give us a deal. We are not corrupt. Save our skin. You know, all that thing and say democracy is in peril when they are charged. But democracy is not peril when they misuse the law. There is gross misuse of law in this country. There is a fear in the mind of everybody for the last 40 years. I've seen it for 40 years. Please, not today.
Sir, with all respect to your seniority, sir, with all due respect to your seniority, the entire case was not about special privilege treatment. The entire case was about doing away with potential space where there could be abuse and misuse of law.
Supreme Court said.
There are certain provisions. They just wanted guidelines on the procedural
But
front.
that's
They were
exactly,
not
you
asking-
just wanted guidelines, and it is just the guidelines that the Supreme Court did give. But GVL Narasimha Rao, there are two charges that stick to the BJP. One, does it only go after opposition? What happens to people who join the BJP? Are they above the law? And number two, the question of terrorizing citizens, that stays. Whichever is the government, that fear stays with normal citizens. Of course, it doesn't impact political parties.
Navika, it is the mandate that Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji got. The prime reason, one major factor in his election victory, both in 2014 and 2019, one major factor, possibly the most important factor, was incorruptibility, was a promise of a government of integrity. A promise which we kept. That's why people voted us back to power in 2019.
Then why was Mr. Chaudhary, who you accused to be corrupt in the TDP, was taken in? Why was Shubhendu Adhikari taken into the party? Then answer that question.
No, one second, I'm coming. There is see, we are in government for 9 years. There is, can you even make one allegation against our government? against any decision made by this government, against any member of the council of ministers? Is there any? No, these are, you see, you have tried. You have tried to make false allegations in the Rafale case, and Rahul Gandhi had to apologize for misquoting the Honorable Supreme Court. We have given a government of integrity. You just
Mr. Sridhar Reddy is raising a point. Mr. Sridhar Reddy is raising a point. Yes, Mr. Reddy, what's your problem?
Mr. GVL is not answering. He's asking us, show me one instance where your government is not corrupt. Joining corrupt leaders in your party is corruption. Please, GVL.
Yes.
Joining corrupt leaders whom you called Andhra Malyas is corruption. Sparing them is corruption. Not disqualifying them is corruption. And at the same time, Navika, I want to make a point here. Today in Telangana, I want to, expose the BJP double standards. Agreed, Netas doesn't need any exemption, doesn't need any special treatment. Today, BJP's Telangana State President, Mr. Bandi Sanjay, was arrested in a conspiracy, a criminal conspiracy case, where he tried to, do kind of paper leakage of SSC examination with his team of
Glad
people.
you raised it.
When he was arrested, when he was taken into custody, why they have not cooperated? Their leadership has provoked their cadre to go on roads, do rampage, do a kind of, create law and order situation, burn effigies. And you want a special treatment for your MP and BJP state president in Telangana, and court has not given you. Why don't you go to court? You could have gone to the court if the case is illegal. But in Telangana, you wanted a special treatment.
Go to court.
But at national level,
Navika, I think
court has not given you relief.
Okay, Narasimha Garu is responding to that.
In Telangana, you don't want that to happen in the entire country.
All right.
No, arrest of our state president, Mr. Bandi Sanjay.
Why those two MPs were not disqualified?
No, Mr. Reddy, let me respond. I think the decision of the TRS government, the BRS government in Telangana is not just politically motivated, it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's an attempt to silence the opposition. We certainly will talk about this is not a case of corruption. Your case against Mr. Bandi Sanjay is completely will not stand in the court of law. You may have got a judicial custody today. We are confident he will come out because that was your incompetence, Reddy. Your government's incompetence is being covered up by taking action against the opposition leader.
Government is enough.
We will certainly, we have faith in the court of
law. Of course, the matter will go to court. The question tonight is something that is being raised, and nobody, Ishkarn Bhandari, today wants to comment on this petition of 14 political parties, not one or two. It includes the Congress, TMC, Aam Aadmi Party, JDU, RJD, CPM, CPI. They all went to prove a point that these cases against them were politically motivated and that there should be no arrest. That was the bottom line of the petition that went to court, which was thrown out by the court. So what is the message to the political class?
Navika ji, you asked a very pertinent question as to whether you should be afraid, Mr. Pai should be afraid, I should be afraid. One very simple fact is, if the government wants to fix you, and any government, they can put you into trouble in a short term. We have a strong judiciary. We will emerge out if you are clean. But let us be clear on one thing. What was this petition trying to do? These same people in power framed these same laws, used these same laws, and now that they are bearing the brunt, even defamation, I've on your channel so many times, it should not exist. But Congress brought 66A. Let them go to jail so that if they ever come to power, they will make rights which will protect citizens. Let them face the brunt of law, and every individual case of excess, of course, the court is going to do justice. The problem is, and as a citizen and as a lawyer, I feel the laws framed, one party comes in, the other party comes in. The reality is everybody in this country misuses laws when they have the power, but let the law be equal for everybody. Today they were trying to get VIP privileges. They said democracy in danger. politicians in danger, and that I think is an untenable argument, and that is why it was rightfully dismissed.
Absolutely, nobody can be above the common citizen of India, and it is that common citizen of India who votes these netas to power. How can you have privileges over and above your bosses? Because your boss is the public friend, and the public will take the call on who's right and who's wrong. Let's leave it at that for now. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.